Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a 20-year-old Hudson Valley resident in my final year of college. Right now, I'm working on a costume made with random stuff I found in my closet. I know it doesn't look like it, but for me, this is a lot of fun. This is one of the ways that I play, with cosplay. I've always liked to play dress-up when I was little, and I just sort of kept doing it as I got older. But now I put a lot more time in. It doesn't really feel like work, though. It's more like a game. It kind of sucks, though, because wanting to have fun as an adult has this weird sort of stigma around it. It's like it's not worth our time to play games or that it's beneath us, but that's just not true. People have been playing for hundreds of thousands of years. Yeah, the games we play change depending on the culture and the time, but the desire to play has always been a constant.
As long as there have been humans, there have been games.
This is my aunt, Allison Fisher. She's an anthropologist.
Games were invented for many different reasons. I mean, the first, entertainment, just having a good old time, but it's also for education purposes. And definitely, in the past, it was definitely to commune with the gods of the various cultures. We don't always have the answers to everything as humans, and so we would use these games to help us with the outcomes of life. So these little guys right here I have in this pouch are ancient runes. So these guys come from a time when the Vikings were starting out, coming into their own, and then exploring the world that we knew. They were used to speak to the gods. It was a way of communicating with them, and it was a way for the gods to communicate back to them what they were thinking or what the gods would want them to do. Wood, stone, anything that they had, they would use. They'd use things in their natural world. Games were also used for humans as a way to strengthen their bodies, their agility, their skills, whatever skill sets are necessary within their culture. In Mesoamerica, and South America, the Mayans would play a ball game, and they would have this rubber ball, and it was solid rubber. So this is hard. This is a tough thing. You get hit with this, you're gonna feel it. It's not like our air-filled balls of today. It was actually a game sometimes to the death because the losers would be sacrificed. The ball represented the sun. The ball players would congregate on this court with stadium seating on the sides, and everybody would gather together, and they would watch these men. It's almost like soccer, but you use your body, your hips, and they have to get it through a little tiny stone circle that are on either side in the middle of the court. And it was a battle for the world to be renewed every year. It was a way to please the gods. It was a way to give them sacrifices. They had to have a loser. So, yeah, it was a ready source of sacrifice. Historically, I'm sure you've seen some old pictures of kids running down the roads and black and white photographs, and they have a hoop, and they're chasing the hoop down the road. And this is the fun pastime. There were barrels back then, and we didn't have plastic containers, so these barrels were made of wood and metal, and those hoops were all over the place. It was, product of the time, and kids made fun with it, especially during times when toys weren't manufactured in stores. You couldn't go and get them. It wasn't normal to have toys for children. And then that hoop became the American hula hoop.
In our modern society, most of us first experience play in a classroom.
The kinds of play that we engage in change as we get older. Children who are, say, like preschoolers, early grade school, they do a lot of imaginative play. It's very hard for children not to play. It's sort of their main job in a way. And so it comes very natural to them. It's probably their default setting whenever they're awake, right? As if they can, they're going to do something that is playful for them.
My grandmother, Susan Jacques, taught in an elementary school for over 30 years. She retired a couple of years before I was born.
Well, can I show you a picture of my classroom? Yeah. The door had a rainbow on it, and on inside there were centers where the kids worked and played. Actually, work for kids is really their play. Children would come in the morning and we'd have playtime. It was free playtime, and they got to play with any of the equipment that was in the room, and they could explore the materials any way that they wished. Poppy used to come in and play his guitar. He's still doing it. That's right. I know. It came full circle. I know.
On his head, they began to dance around. Oh, Frosty the Snowman was alive as he could be. And
This is so funny to look back. Holy cow. I love the alligator song. Is the picture of him singing it, I guess, on the front. I don't know what this is. Maybe, could be. And then on the inside, oh, it's a helicopter, I think. I don't know what these are. But he did give me a $2 bill. It's taped on there. So cute. And then the back of it says goodbye. I don't know. I think it's him waving goodbye, but I think he's holding my hand there. Kids, when they left kindergarten, they'd always feel a little sad, you know? And I'd always tell them that they can come back and see me.
Growing up, I was homeschooled for the majority of my life. A lot of the learning that I did as a young child was very hands-on. I'm a kinesthetic learner, which means that I learn how to do things by doing it with my hands. I learn through touching things, which, as weird as it sounds, is really the reason why I turned to doing cosplay.
It's really hard for kids to stop playing. It's hard for them to feel bad about their play. Those are things that we sort of learn as we grow up, unfortunately.
Professor Maynard teaches at SUNY New Paltz, where I go to college. He does research in the Positive Play Lab on campus and teaches courses in introductory psychology, statistics, and a seminar in the honors program that's centered on play.
I was starting to get a little bit bored of the research that I had been doing, which is in a very different area. And I had a sabbatical, so I had a little bit more headspace to think about what I wanted to do with the next phase of my career on the research front. And just at some point it occurred to me that why couldn't I study games and play? It's something that I get a lot of joy out of in my personal life through board and card games or video games or role-playing games. And so I did a little research to see what was out there, what had already been published, and was surprised to find that while there's plenty of people who study play in children or animals, very few people were studying the importance of play for adults. And in our lab, we've found that people actually who still hang on to that desire to engage in childlike play, there's sometimes some guilt and embarrassment around that. Like, how am I going to be perceived that I still like doing these things that I liked doing when I was 4 or 5, which is a shame, really, because everybody has their own sort of play profile. And it would be nice if we didn't feel judged for the things that we find joyful.
I can usually connect times within my life where I've been the most introverted, where I've been the most shy, where I've been the most miserable, to the times when I'm not playing enough, the times when I'm not being playful, the times when I'm not making space to do things that are fun. That's when I'm at my worst, is when I don't have those things. I have to keep doing this.
I'm still on my own play journey. Like, I could point to lots of different things that I do for play. I have no problem with having a list that's really long about the things that I love to do. But I'm still working as an adult on finding that balance of like making play a priority.
So this was the first thing I ever made. I don't remember how old I was. I'm gonna say like preteen to teen years. I'd been playing this video game. I loved the character. And yeah, something about it really spoke to me. I was like, I want to have this. I want to make this thing. So I went online and I saw someone else who had done this same project, and I watched their little video tutorial on YouTube. And I was like, oh, I can do that. Mom, Dad, let's do this. And we did. So this thing is about 3 pounds. When I wore this to Comic-Con for the first time, I was so excited to be there, I did not want to take it off, and it was on my head for around 3 hours. I was a preteen. I did not have any strong neck muscles. And so halfway through the time, I'm going over to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I need some baby aspirin. My neck is hurting me so bad. And I still refuse to take the stupid thing off. That detailing work on the sides was all hand carved with a razor blade. I spent hours hunching over my little work table and just cutting every single detail out by hand. Yeah, that was epic.
There's real potential for some people in some situations where they're embodying another character or avatar or persona, for them to play with different kinds of roles, different kinds of personalities, different kinds of skill sets. And then over time, they might have positive results from kind of that little boost of anonymity and confidence, and then they are able to come back and sort of bring that into their actual lives.
You know, it's amazing because when I've been in costume before, I've had strangers, people I have never met before, and they'll come running up to me out of crowds and they'll hug me. I've been hugged by a stranger in New York City who wasn't trying to stab me or sell me something. I've had people break into tears when they see me. I've had people tell me how these characters and these games have saved their lives. That's amazing. I can't stop doing this kind of work, even if it takes on a different form, because it brings so much joy to people. It brings so much light to the world, which the world really needs.
Some people are more playful than others, but play seems like one in a list of things that we're spending our time doing. It's a little bit less a drive that comes first. I understand, as somebody who studies play and values it and tells everybody how much I value it in the research that we do, I understand that with busy jobs and busy lives and so forth, that it's sometimes not easy to kind of put play towards the top of the list where I think it belongs. It's something that I personally struggle with sometimes myself. So I would hope that people would be a little bit easy on themselves if they're in a situation where they feel like, I realize play is important, I'd like to get more of it, I don't know how to do that. That it can be hard in modern life to kind of get enough play as an adult, and just keep trying to kind of find ways to do it, schedule it in, lean into the relationships that you have in your life that support and encourage the play, and you'll get more of it, and then you'll get more out of life because of that.
There's always going to be difficulties that arise around playing, whether it's wanting to do something outside of societal norm, feeling too old, not having enough time. But I know for myself that the play that I'm doing is important. It means something to people. It means something to me too. So I'll keep doing it.